Can you believe it? This prince, who was forced to seize the throne, saved the Ming Empire with his own strength. But when he fell seriously ill, his own brother took everything from him. After his death, he couldn't even enter his royal tomb. The life of Emperor Zhu Qiyu of the Ming Dynasty was like a tragedy pushed forward by fate. He was originally the peaceful Prince of Qing, but due to the Tumu Crisis, he was pushed onto the dragon throne. He had just used the defense of Beijing to repel the Oirat, then turned around and imprisoned his own brother out of selfishness. Though he governed better than his brother Zhu Qizhen, he ended up with the fate of having his imperial title stripped and his tomb destroyed. This emperor, called the restorer of the imperial family in the history of Ming, why did he become the only Ming emperor without a temple name? Zhu Qiyu's tragedy was set in motion the day he was born. He was the second son of Emperor Xuanzong. Zhu Zhangji, his birth mother, Wu, was originally a maid of Prince Han, Zhu Qiyu. After Zhu Qiu's rebellion was suppressed, Wu was brought into the palace as a slave. By chance, Emperor Xuanzong took her as a consort and she gave birth to Zhu Qiyu. This son of a condemned slave identity made him live in the shadow of his older brother, Zhu Qizhen, from a young age. His brother was born the legit, while he was made Prince of Qing. At 14, he was sent to his fief. He thought he would only ever be an idle prince. Then came the turning point in the 14th year of the Jingtai era, 1449. Emperor Yingzong, Zhu Qizhen, was lured into a military campaign against the Oirat by Wang Zhen, and was captured at the Battle of Tumu. 500,000 elite Ming soldiers were wiped out, and Oirat cavalry marched straight to the gates of Beijing. In the court, officials like Su Yozhen were clamoring for a southern migration, but Yu Qian sternly rebuked them, saying that anyone advocating for migration should be executed, and, together with the Empress Dowager, they supported Zhu Qiyu's ascension to the throne, stabilizing the people with the decree the country cannot be without a ruler for even a day. Zhu Qiyu was terrified and repeatedly declined. After all, the Oirat had his brother in their grasp, and he was merely a temporary emperor. But the ministers insisted, and he was finally pushed onto the throne, renaming the era to Jingtai. The first thing he did after ascending the throne was to support Yu Qian in winning the defense of Beijing. At that time, the Oirat used returning Emperor Yingzong as a bait to force him to abdicate. Zhu Qiyu gritted his teeth and resisted the pressure, allowing Yu Qian to command the army, fortifying the Nine Gates defenses, and sending troops from Henan and Shandong to reinforce and transport grain from Tongzhou. Thanks to the Grand Canal, which Zhu Di had dredged, these supplies were quickly gathered. In October, outside Beijing, Yu Qian led the remaining soldiers to fiercely clash with the Oirat cavalry, while Zhu Qiyu stabilized the rear in the court. He even issued orders, saying that any general who retreated without regard for the soldiers would be executed, and any soldier who retreated without regard for their general would have their rear ranks executed. After winning this tough battle, the Oirat, seeing no benefit, released Emperor Yingzong the following year. But as time passed, no one is willing to let go of the throne. Facing his returned brother, Zhu Qiyu revealed the coldness of royal families. He didn't kill Zhu Qizhen, but imprisoned him in the South Palace, and locked him there for 7 years. In order to have his son, Zhu Jianji, replace Emperor Yingzong's son, Zhu Qizhen, as the crown prince, he even bribed ministers, giving 50 taels of gold and 100 taels of silver to each member of the cabinet. He forcefully deposed his nephew's position as crown prince. This selfishness became the stain of his life. However, to be fair, Zhu Qiyu was indeed better at governing than his brother. During his 8 years in power, he accomplished a lot of practical things. He reformed the bureaucracy, rooting out the eunuch faction left behind by Wang Zhen. He reused capable ministers like Yu Qian and Wang Wen. He reformed the military, establishing the regiment system, doubling the combat strength of the Beijing army. He managed the flooding, appointing Su Yozhen to oversee the repair of the Yellow River, saving hundreds of thousands of disaster-stricken people. He developed the economy, reducing taxes, and gradually helped the Ming Dynasty recover from the Tumu Crisis. During that time, the Ming court was clear, and the borders were stable. The people even forgot that there was a prince imprisoned, but he never anticipated that he would have no heirs. Zhu Jianji died after 1 year as crown prince, leaving Zhu Qiyu without a successor. By the 8th year of the Jingtai era, he suddenly fell seriously ill. The court immediately began to stir. Officials like Shi Heng and Su Yozhen, who had been suppressed by Yu Qian, sneaked into the South Palace, broke open the palace gates, and brought Emperor Yingzong out. In one night, they completed the restoration, a historical event known as the door-seizing coup. Lying on his deathbed, Zhu Qiyu heard the sound of bells and drums, and asked, "Is it Yu Qian?" When he learned that his brother had been restored, he only said, "Let my brother be the emperor." Fine. He was then deposed and returned to his title as Prince of Qing, imprisoned in the Western Garden. Even more tragic was his end. A month later, Zhu Qiyu died mysteriously. Some say he was strangled by eunuchs, others say he died from grief. Emperor Yingzong not only failed to give him a posthumous title, but also buried him in a royal tomb in the western hills of Beijing, not even allowing him to enter the Ming tombs. Out of the 16 Ming emperors, he was the only one to become a wandering soul. It wasn't until the reign of Emperor Cheng that his imperial title was restored by his nephew, Zhu Qizhen, but he was still not given a temple name. Over 100 years later, the Southern Ming's Hongguang regime finally posthumously named him Emperor Daizong. But by then, the Ming Dynasty was already crumbling. The most controversial aspect of Zhu Qiyu's life was his imprisonment of Emperor Yingzong and the change of crown prince. Some criticized him for coveting the throne, saying he shouldn't have kept his brother imprisoned for 7 years, nor should he have deposed Zhu Qizhen. But looking from another angle, how many emperors can resist the temptation of power? After Emperor Yingzong's restoration, he killed Yu Qian, altered history, and portrayed Zhu Qiyu as a villain who coveted power, was unfilial, and disrespectful. But the Ming Shirlu, Annals of the Ming, holds the truth. During the defense of Beijing, it was Zhu Qiyu who, against the majority, insisted on defending the city. During times of famine, it was he who ordered grain storage to be opened. Even after Emperor Yingzong's restoration, he had to admit that during the reign of Emperor Jingtai, there were disasters and strange events, yet the emperor worked hard for the people, kept taxes low, and was diligent. This prince, pushed by fate onto the throne, could have been a carefree prince, but by a twist of fate, he became the savior of the moment. He kept the Ming Empire intact, but couldn't keep his own life. He understood governance better than his brother, but lost out because of the concept of legitimate succession. Zhu Qiyu's tragedy, in the end, was the sacrifice of the imperial power struggle. He wasn't bad enough. It was just that in the face of the word Xingtong, all his achievements became original sins. Just like the lonely Daizong tomb in the western hills, it still tells the story of this Ming Dynasty emperor's helplessness. He lived without control, and died without peace. Even history owes him a fair evaluation.